G'day everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Matt Hill's Scale Models, and today is a video on my entry for the Persson tribute build. Completely different kit than what I was going to do. Found in the stash. I love Spitfires. So this will be my build to the Persson tribute build. For those of you who don't know and want to join along, it's open to everyone. Brett G has got an introduction video on his channel, but basically it's anything Swedish. It can be military, civilian. It can be, as long as it was used by the Swedes at any time, you can build it. So it's open to all you car model guys. If you want to build a Volvo or a Saab Scania or something, heavy equipment, yep, jet fighters, the lot. So this is my entry. I'm hoping to get another one done, but this is the good old Airfix, reasonably new tooled Spitfire. It is the last of the big production Spitfires with the Griffin engine in them, which I really like. And as you can see, it comes with a set of Swedish Decals in it. An easy paint scheme for me to do, with the weather being still fairly cold, so I'll be using the Humbrol enamel, which sort of dries anytime, anywhere. It's good paint in the end. This is a good kit. I'll open the box up and have a look. There's been plenty of other in-box reviews on this model kit. I'll just go through just to show you that it is what it is in the box, for any of you that want to know. I picked this kit up a little while ago from my local hobby shop for $29.95 Australian, and for what I've seen in the box, it is a good kit. So I'll open the lid and I'll just show you that the top of the lid's got that nice box art on the front. It's a shame some hobby shops put their stickers on there. If you're watching Ben, put them somewhere else. They're hard to get off, because some people might like to frame the box because it does look fantastic, and unfortunately mine's a little bit damaged now, but it is a nice thing to put on the wall if you wanted to. The typical box for Airfix has got a little bit of information on the sides and everything, telling you about the kit, etc. I'll just take everything out. So you've got a set of instruction sheets, a colour guide, the decal sheet, your Airfix mandatory club membership, and everything in one bag, and the clear also inside that bag, but in its own bag, which is good, so it shouldn't get knocked about. So what we'll look at first, I suppose we'll start with the instructions, just to show you guys what's involved in these. So if you want to go and buy one, excuse me, you can go and buy one, and thinking that I think it won't be hard to do, but basically it's the same old Airfix instructions. It's not the new CAD ones, which they've been getting in a few kits, like the newer tooling kits, but look, it looks like an easy set to follow instructions, as long as you keep an eye on the assembly icons. The colour call out guide is all in Humbrol numbers, which is the 70s, 100s, etc. The kit parts are marked with the circle around them, with the letter and the number to correspond with the sprue used, the sprue gate or the sprue frame used. But it's just a simple stages of building the cockpit, adding the seat, bulkheads, oxygen bottles, doing some more of the bulkheads, building that big wonderful 5-blade propeller. Then we've got an option here and an option here, so you could either have Bobby the Pom or Sven the Swede. Hello, he's flying the airplane. And then it'll also let you know if you want to slide the canopy back, you've got to actually do a little bit of surgery to the plastic. Now that shouldn't be hard for anyone if you just take your time. This plastic's fairly soft, I think, from what I've read and listened to and everything about the kit. Putting everything together, and as you can see, it's quite detailed with the gun cameras and everything in there, or the reconnaissance camera, because this was an unarmed version. So you'll see a little bit of detail, so some careful painting. If you just took your time with that, I think it'd come up well. The option to either run Bobby or Sven. I usually don't put a pilot in my aircraft. Adding the clear on the inside, so if you're going to have a go at building this kit, just use your canopy glue or some white glue or something to glue this little piece in here. And remember, make sure you get something that's got a good bond to it, because if you handle it from the outside and accidentally push that in while you're doing other things to the model, such as sanding or masking or something, and you push that window in, it's going to be a real pain in the butt to get back into that position again. So make sure you get a good glue of your choice, which will hold that part in. And also make sure that you remove the paint from around there before you do that, because sometimes it won't stick. So little things like that. I hope you can see a little bit further down the bottom here, because my bench is a bit tight at the moment for bits and pieces. We've got adding a few more little details, adding those big exhaust systems, making this thing look like a real speed machine. Adding the tail section here, the vertical and horizontal stabilizers of the tails. Another option coming up here, whether you want to display it on a stand. The stand is not available, telling you have to drill a little hole for the stand. Then adding fuselage to wings, mating everything up. Adding flaps, whether they be lowered or raised, which is a very nice touch. We've got two sets of tyres. We've got weighted tyres in here, which is a very good thing. I hope you can see that down the bottom here. So we've got two options in tyres. And then last of all, just putting everything together, making sure you cut that canopy frame if you want to have the cockpit glass slid back. It's telling you both options, open or close. I'll leave mine open. If you put a little bit of work in the cockpit, you want to show it off. And that is the open landing gear up, landing gear down. So, and adding some of the little small bits there to last. So look, I think it's going to be a pretty easy kit for anyone at any scale, but we'll go through that. I'll show you the painting guide. So the first option is the British machine, number 81 Squadron, Royal Air Force, Seletar, Singapore, April 1st 1954, and for what I read, this was the last operational mission flown by these Spitfires. That was their end of their career. They ended up in Singapore for flying photo reconnaissance, and of course this one is the markings for the last. The colour call out is in Humbrol, but you could virtually work out what you want to do in your favourite paint, and that's a nice colour scheme. I built this one in the 1/72 scale, and it's a nice scheme. And on the other side is what I will be using for the Persson build. It's the Super Spitfire S31, which is the Swedish designation for the aeroplane. It's 1st Division Flot. Now Peter, let me explain to me, you're going to have to do a video on this, or Rob. It's the Flottage 11 Fly Gaffnet Night Coping 1955. Now I probably swore to every Swedish person watching this the way I've deciphered that, but this is a real striking aircraft too. It's got the big red nose, it's got the Swedish crowns on it, overall PRU blue, with the yellow and the markings. Everything's a real standout aircraft, and so that's the one I'm going to do for Peter's build. It's fantastic. We'll have a look now next at the decals. The decals are printed by Cartograph. Most of these good these Airfix decals are very, very good. Never had a problem with any of them. You'll either have some spare Swedish stuff or some spare English. Everything looks really nice. I've never had a problem with them. Heaps of the little stenciling, which might challenge some beginners, but if you just take your time and just go steady as you go, little steps, anyone can be able to complete this kit quite easily. And last but not least, the kit parts. I'll just quickly undo it and just run through everything. So she's open now, we've got to do something with it. So this is sprue B, which is fuselage, harbs, and some tail planes, your wheels, some of the flaps and things like that. This is this really soft sort of Airfix plastic. The kit is manufactured in India. It does glue well using Tamiya extra thin. I've never had a problem with that. Some of the other parts that I want to have a good bond to, I just use the normal Humbrol glue, tube glue, which never fails anyway. A couple little things I have seen, and this is just picky for me, but I see one little sink mark there and there, and I think you probably correspond with what's happened on the inside. They've offered some nice detail on the side walls. It's nothing that can't be fixed with a little bit of putty, a little bit of sanding and filling, but you got some nice detail on the inside of this kit. Everything looks really good, and as I said, there's better reviews out there. If you want a really detailed one, go and check out a couple of the other channels, just Google it in. This is the wings, some of the flaps, some of the tail planes, the cockpit parts, some really nice pieces here on these radiator intakes that will really accept the wash. If you paint them up and gloss them and put a wash through, you'll get some nice detail on that. The seat is really good. I'll just bump my camera again. Everything looks good for a point of view that like not really any injector pin marks on any of the stuff that you're going to see. The landing gear looks really good. We've got some detail on the inside of the wings, little tiny injector pin marks in there. You won't probably see these. Oh yes you will, you'll see these too, so they'll need a little bit of careful cleanup. You've even got detail on the inside of the propeller hub as well. So that all looks good, nothing's broken, and that was sprue A. And the final sprue out of the three grey is the propeller kit bulkheads, lower wing section. Bobby or Sven sitting there. The exhausts, are the exhausts a little bit hollow? No, these exhausts are not hollow, but you can do that with a pin vise. If you haven't got a pin vise, you can use a little pin and just carefully work it if you want to add that little bit of detail to it. If not, just build it how you want to build it. That's the way it is. We're not playing for sheep stations here. And the cockpit instrument panel looks really good. Come out with a bit of careful detailing. I didn't check on the instruction sheet, on the Decals sheet, whether it had any dial faces. Sometimes they do, but no dial faces for the instrument panels. So you'll just either have to do some careful painting, or if you're into the aftermarket stuff, get some aftermarket stuff. And the last one we'll look at, just to show you what you get in your clear options. I don't normally like opening the clear because I'm afraid that it might get scratched before I put it on, but I'll keep it in the bag. Always keep your clear parts away from everything else, back in its bag, and that way you'll never get stuff broken. But there, look, this is the clear. It looks really cool. Nice and shiny, and there's your couple of different options for open and close canopy. The covers for the cameras, for the camera part. So this is sprue D, the clear. It's a little bit blurry if you really wanted to be picky. But look, if you're going to pose the canopy open, I think it'd be fine. And it'd be fine for anyone to have a crack at. So we're going to start on this one while I'm waiting for a few things to dry on the Corsair, and hopefully I get a video up in the next few days, and we can give you a progress shot. It's a pretty simple kit to build by the looks of it. I think anyone would be happy to have a crack at it. Excuse the plastic sound. So yep, please feel free to join along, and I'll just do a couple of progress videos as I go on this one, and then hopefully being a classic Airfix kit, it won't take too long to build. So thanks guys, thank you Peter for being a good friend on the channel as well. So until next time, be safe, model hard, see you later. I don't know what bye-bye is in Swedish, but until next time, be safe, model hard, a little bit of effort, you can get a good result from an old model kit, and until next time.